Hey everybody and welcome back. I'm Eric for President and you know the drill, your one-stop shop for 5 VR stories you missed over the past couple of days. Today we're going over some next level Oculus Quest hand tracking that somebody's working on, a little bit of bad news for possible Pavlov, maybe not coming till 2021, and of course we gotta discuss a little BBC article about VR is dying again, and we got a lot more to talk about as well. But first, as always, a few things in VR making me happy. This roundup of amazing VR and AR innovations showing why the 2020s are gonna get weird, but the good kind of weird, and I can't wait for what's next. If you bring your friends over to play VR for the first time and don't trick them into playing a horror game at least once, did they even try VR? And lastly, this augmented reality sandpit that automatically adapts to changes in elevation. This is the kind of AR and VR that when at schools could change how we interest kids in learning. I want way more of this stuff. And as always, all links for these will be in the description. A few quick housekeeping items. Of course, the Oculus Quest giveaway number 4 is still going on. Link for that and entries on how to enter will be in the pinned comment. As well, in this video, I have 5 Oculus Quest 2MD football keys, a game that I've had a blast, so good luck. Please beat my score if you can, my high score. I've worked really hard on that, but the keys will be inside this video on screen, one through each story that we're gonna go over, so stay tuned if you wanna win one of those games. Good luck. With that being said, please leave a like to support this video, share with a friend, and let's get into the VR news. Cheers. The Pavlov and Oculus saga continues, and at this point, the twists and turns that Oculus and Pavlov have had are better than any Star Wars trilogy movies out there right now. But let's get into Pavlov being delayed possibly until 2021. Let me start by saying that I'm not interested in going back and forth on what the truth is anymore with Pavlov and Oculus. It's twisted and changed so many times that I'm done trying to understand it. So let's get into what we know and go off what Dave Vills is stating. Pavlov Lite was to be released on the official Oculus Quest store back in December of 2019, but due to some last minute issues in the holiday season, it was pushed to around February of this year to iron out the kinks. The most recent build of Pavlov Shack is currently out on the Pavlov Discord as well as officially on SideQuest, and all links for those will be in the description. Dave Vills now posted this on his Discord, alluding to Oculus not able to keep up with the updates he plans to keep pushing out due to their quality control, and until Oculus gets their side together, we may be looking at a February 2021 date for Pavlov on the official Oculus Quest store. On one side, you do have Oculus, who we know has a very strong walled garden approach, and it's very strict on what they allow onto the Oculus Quest store. If I'm gonna be honest with myself, I'm not sure if the PCVR version of Pavlov would actually even pass the quality assurance program for the Quest itself. Both the PCVR and the Oculus Quest version of Pavlov right now are inherently buggy, it is true, although they are a fun time still. But on this side for Oculus, it may actually be in the best interest of Pavlov for the Oculus Quest that they're being so strict on the quality and wanting to be ready at launch. It may ultimately make Pavlov better than it is now, and for that, Oculus may be right. On the other hand though, the Oculus Quest does lack quite a bit of multiplayer heavy titles, and to undervalue Pavlov is a huge mistake. Pavlov is a huge benefit for the Oculus Quest platform, not only because of what it can provide that the Oculus Quest doesn't have, but Pavlov is time after time the most heavily played concurrent user base of any multiplayer titles, breaking the curse that a lot of multiplayer VR only games have. And it is a travesty that it is not going to come to the Oculus Quest store possibly until 2021. I hate playing in the middle of any stories, I really do, but in fact, Dave Vills and Oculus, I think both are in the right in their own respective ways, but I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Oculus is right to be very quality controlled on this one? Or do you think Dave Vills is more right to be pushing it to the Quest store now because of what it provides for the platform? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, Pavlov is a great segue into our next story about a Reddit post I saw that asked for more multiplayer titles on the Oculus Quest, and I think there is a VR multiplayer catch-22 that I want to discuss and hear your thoughts on as well. Let's get into it. Posted originally by Unspoken Ghost, he or she states that we need more multiplayer games for the Oculus Quest, and even brings up the importance of Pavlov. Anyone who knows me pretty well knows my love for competition in multiplayer VR games, as they are my favorite, and if I had answered Unspoken Ghost's question a few months back, I would have agreed 100% and been blind and ignorant to the real catch-22 of VR multiplayer titles. I live in an echo chamber of VR love, so a lot of times I am blind to VR's nicheness, if that's a word at all, but in reality the player base for VR is still very small, spread out among numerous titles. The more and more multiplayer games that say come out for the Oculus Quest or VR in general only separates the lower player bases more, leading to many VR multiplayer games just fizzling out due to lower player base. Rest in peace, Space Junkies, you should have been bigger than you were, and you should have been cheaper when you started. So yeah, it's a really quick story, but I'm very interested to hear your take on it. On one hand, VR multiplayer titles bring a lot of value to the platform for a lot of people, but it's a catch-22 because it's a very big risk for developers already working with a smaller player base. So you're taking a small player base, having them make them interested in one specific game, and then hoping you can compete among all other multiplayer platforms for VR to keep a player base. It's a huge risk for a developer. It's a huge risk for the user who wants to buy a game that may not have enough people to play on over a long period of time. So there is a VR multiplayer catch-22 across all VR, but also for the Oculus Quest. But I want to hear your takes. Does the Oculus Quest need more multiplayer titles? Let me know down in the comments. So let's hit the doozy of a story today, and not even a week and a half into 2020, and we already have our first VR is dying article. Now let's keep this segment tasteful, let's be nice in the comments. We don't need to attack, but let's keep it cup half full and discuss the intentions of this one, and that's the key word. What are the intentions? It seems once every quarter there's just another article or YouTube video going over the slow decline and death of VR. Now I live in a bubble, admittedly so, and all my VR info is an echo chamber of growth and overall positive VR tone. I am not deaf to the fact that there are many out there who disagree, who think VR is a fad and in fact a dying breed. To those people, I 100% think you're wrong, and many times the stories and videos of that come off with one purpose. But I will always give people the benefit of the doubt because sometimes my echo chamber is wrong, and VR does have some real problems at times, which I need to reflect and make sure I'm covering all sides of the story. That's proper journalism in discussion. Now in this article by Eleanor Laurie, she does this for one thing. She has only one intention in this story, and I do plan to get into that, but I do want to say that although I am criticizing her article, I am not attacking Eleanor, because in reality, just because she doesn't like VR or pitch this article, it doesn't make her evil. I heavily disagree with her, but it doesn't make her evil, and she shouldn't be attacked for it, so keep that in mind in this discussion. Let's start with the one positive of this article. She does paint VR in the light of what it really is. When I put in the earpiece and goggles for the first time, it was crazy, and it feels so believable, says Anna Taylor of her visit to a virtual reality arcade. She goes further into saying the whole experience of being immersed in a compelling virtual world is incredible. Now I do appreciate the article starts here because this is what virtual reality is. It's giving the user endless realities to explore and have fun in. It doesn't matter your economic status, your social status, and all these other factors of how you live or what you have. If you can put on a headset, endless realities are available to you, and that provides immense possibilities for everyone in the world, and that's why VR is so special. Between basing VR headsets not taking off due to someone's VR arcade experience, which may or may not indicate the real VR experience, she brings up Google Daydream's failure when in reality it's the normal life cycle for phone-based VR, which I'm sorry if you love it, but it's just a poor overall experience and needed to die off. And finally, the same old excuse of VR gaming costing thousands, large spaces required, sensor setup, and more, with not one single mention of the Oculus Quest, the most accessible in every way VR headset. You would think that would come up with any well-balanced VR journalism article. So for the millionth time, my distaste with this article is not because she doesn't like VR. I don't care if she doesn't like VR. However, her intentions of this article is what really bugs me, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on. It seems to me her intentions, especially seeing the BBC just had a VR studio collapse, that because their studio collapsed, now VR is dying. And because VR dying gets clicks, well, let's make this article because I fell into your trap. Eleanor, you got your clicks, you got your views, I'm giving you more attention, it works. It is what it is. No different than me titling VR is Dying 2020 edition. It will get more views. We're all a sucker for the views at the end of the day. At least try to provide accurate, up-to-date info that covers both sides of the story. It's clear from that article that you didn't invest the time to research more into VR, and this was an attempt just for clicks, and that's my main issue with this. But let me know what you think down in the comments, because again, I live in an info bubble where I'm very biased in the situation, and I'm interested to hear if you took this differently. Is she right? Maybe she's being more reasonable than I am. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Moving right along, hand tracking. It is out, you've all been playing with it, and it is lackluster to say the least, but we expected that. This is free tech that came very early, and it's very awesome that we get to try it. But an absolute mad lad has been working on IK and hand tracking, and it looks amazing. Check this out. So of course, many people have been playing with hand tracking and found the results lacking, but still, it's amazing that a headset we all purchased, never thinking we'd have hand tracking, and we get it as a free update is pretty amazing on its own, and so I'm willing to wait and see how it keeps progressing. The Redditor Ace Thailand, sorry if I mispronounce your name, has taken the SDK and done absolute work on hand tracking. As you can see here, he not only has fine-tuned the fine motor movements, but added IK as well. IK stands for inverse kinematics, and it's basically referring to the virtual bodies that you see when you look down and move your arms around. So basically now you have arms as well. I think it's an understatement to simplify how good the physics, hit detection with hand tracking, and the IK features of this work in progress look and work in this clip. It blows my mind to see how quickly the state of VR keeps advancing, and he is 100% the VR badass of the day. To me, this looks amazing, and I can't wait to try something like this. This is not available for public use yet, although he says he will hope to be putting it on SideQuest in the future, so look forward to that, but let me know what you think about this down in the comments. And in our final story, it's very quick, it's more of a plug for myself, but I get a lot of questions from you all constantly through Twitter, Discord, Facebook, on the YouTube channel, a lot of questions that I just can't answer in every video. However, I am going to be starting a second channel soon, weekly, just collecting all these topics and doing a presidential fireside chat, going through these topics, no bullshit, quick to the point, and answering every question I can because you all give me an amazing amount of trust, an amazing amount of love, and I need to answer the questions. That's the whole point, is to talk with you guys. So if you have questions that you want answered, say they're for the new channel, send me a DM on Twitter, Discord, Facebook, find me anywhere, email, doesn't matter. Let me know it's for the video, and when I get enough of them, that first episode will come out and I will plug that into the channel later on. With that being said though, that is the end of today's episode. Please leave a like, please, to support this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to never miss an upload. Join the spaceship on Patreon. Everything invested into Patreon just gets pushed back to the channel. It's how I can keep the giveaways and everything going. And with that being said, I'm very excited to see you on the next one, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one, VR Space Cowboys. Cheers.